Pushing Dust Bowl last for 20 minutes, then winning with a pub push at the last second is better than sex. So what if we just constantly pub push then? I decided to try it out, and subjected my viewers to a week of 100 players, instant respawn, always overtime cough. And surprisingly, it's fun. I started off with a test on Viaduct to see if the idea even made sense. The point caps in 0.2 seconds, and anytime the point is capped, both timers reset to 15. For 30 minutes, no team could get close to winning, but players said they had fun regardless, so I fleshed it out more. First experiment was true instant respawn. With no mods, stock TF2's 0 respawn time still gives you time to watch the kill cam. With mods, you can respawn someone the instant they die, hence true instant respawn. This was received well and didn't negatively affect the gameplay, it just increased the intensity, so it's now part of the game mode. We tried having every death drop a health pack, but regardless of how much it healed, it didn't have a noticeable impact to the gameplay. Some players suggested it caused snowballing, but I didn't think the testing proved that conclusively. In the end, since its effect was uncertain, I scrapped it to avoid flying too close to the object limit sun. Crit pumpkins dropped on death ironically made the mode less interesting. The main problem was, after getting a pumpkin, you can back up and spam into the enemy from afar since crits don't have damage fall off. This strategy was so good at shutting down a team's entryways that games would often end after the first cap, so pumpkins were scrapped. The last game mode experiment was Halloween bosses, which amazingly actually didn't have an impact. One of Headless Horseman, or Monoculus, or Marasmus wouldn't meaningfully affect the game. They were too weak for 100 instant respawning players. At one point, I spawned 6 Marasmuses at once, and even with constant area of effect attacks, it couldn't tilt the game enough to make a team lose. Eventually, it was 8 Monoculuses at once that I spawned directly on top of Red Team that made the game end. It was funny, but the bosses didn't introduce anything interesting to the gameplay loop. Everyone just ignores them and hopes it hurts the other team, until they eventually die from catching too many strays. With the mode's rules settled, what should a custom map specifically built for this look like? To get an answer, we tested a few maps. I inverted Viaduct's hill, which went poorly because you can now spam the point from anywhere. I made the most minimalist Koth map possible, a circular hill, alongside modified Koth Badlands, Harvest, and High Pass. The circular hill was to see if Viaduct, without any of the surrounding structures, would work. Were they important? Badlands to see how a big valley plays. Harvest for whether an enclosed space around the point works, and High Pass for a bridge with a small passage underneath. After testing, I couldn't answer any of these questions. That's because there is actually a bigger overarching issue. The game mode breaks when players can ignore the point. In every map, a portion of players would sidestep the point to reach the spawn points to camp it. This made the central point no longer most of the fighting you did. Instead, most of your time is spent chasing down players trying to sneak behind to spawn camp. And with instant respawn, it meant there was a constant stream of players doing this. So maps need walls to either side of the point, and one above the point as well to prevent players bypassing the point. From there, we did finally learn that Viaduct, without any of the structures, would have actually been fine. The basic hill with walls work. From testing the Harvest house, enclosing the point doesn't seem good. The back and forth with point control doesn't happen as much, since it's too easy to completely block the other team from accessing the point. Even without the roof, the corners of the house allow you to easily spam the doorway, while hitting you back is much harder. The high ground didn't seem like a bad idea, So I tried it out on the next iteration of the custom map. I added a stack of props in the middle, props to the sides, and a plank along the top. The props were inspired by the viaduct rock that gives you room to juke enemy shots without being completely useless or too strong. The forklift and boxes give you cover, but you still need to pay attention, and it's easy to take a bunch of damage. They worked well to give the point more variation, and survived into the final version. The plank was eventually cut, since it was difficult to fight players on it. Not because it's hard to hit them, though. With the constant stream of players, there was never a moment where it made sense to waste ammo on a soldier standing on the plank, instead of the players actually capping the point back. So players on the plank became uninteresting to interact with. They shot at you, but it was better to just ignore them. If you die, you come back instantly, so it also didn't matter that they killed you. In the end, nothing about it added anything worthwhile to the gameplay. So this is what became the final layout, along with a 3-second respawn and a 6-minute sudden death. Instant respawn on the custom map managed to be so chaotic that your computer would give up and crash TF2, so cutting it down to 3 seconds was needed to minimize the crashing. Anything lower than that crashes half the server after a few minutes. To stop the game ending too quick, teams winning immediately after the first cap, timers are reset to 15 after each cap. But to stop the game from going on forever, I eventually added a sudden death that kicks in after 6 minutes. It stops the timer from being reset on each cap, so the timer would tick down as it normally does, eventually deciding a winner. Last, it was commonly agreed that spawn camping in this game mode sucks, so there's spawn protection sentries. And that's the creation of this awful game mode and map, Panic Cough Rot. There was an experiment with High Pass's layout to see if it was better than the basic hill, but it didn't work. We had demo knights constantly charging through the underpass and hitting you in the back, which was a similar problem to the cut plank. The point is always more important, so you just let them kill you for free. The interaction with them wasn't interesting. Putting on the normal cough timer was also tested, but it didn't fit. Problem being, Panic Cough has no comeback mechanics. The team that's slightly better would slowly snowball a lead until there is a massive time difference, making it pointless to keep playing. Normal Cough gives the cap-owning team a longer respawn time, and the other team a shorter time. Panic Cough gives everyone instant respawn no matter what, so it doesn't work. And there's also a PK Viaduct, but all it needed was spawn protection sentries, and that was it.
Shit.